Welcome to Tales of Hope, where every paw print counts. Animal tie in the house, spreading love, hear the sounds. Every week animal stories, right and welfare in the mix. Step up, take action, we're giving animals a fix. Tales of Hope, raise your voice, make some noise. Change the game for every animal, girl and boy. One world, one fight, let's turn the page. A future for the voiceless, bring hope to center stage.
How do you balance the demands of running Doggit Nutri Zone with the emotional and financial weight of community caregiving?
So balancing both is a very challenging task for me, but it's very fulfilling as well. So Doggit Nutrizone, it's brand, so it's an expanding brand, and I need to concentrate on the brand strategy, think about the financial discipline and everything. And at the same point of time, animal welfare is a very emotionally draining field. Okay, so if one of the dogs is unwell, then my whole brain goes towards taking care of the dog. I mean, shifting that dog to safety so that I can concentrate on my work. It is very difficult that way, but it's very fulfilling. Some days are very heavy. The emotional burden is very heavy, thinking of that dog who is not well. But I do try and manage both, and the fact that the pet parents, when they come back and tell me the positive stories of how the dog has improved with nutrition, so that gives me an added boost to go on with both the fields.
You also highlighted a very important aspect. Most of the caregivers, especially the ones with the communities, we all have our ups and downs, our burnouts. And yesterday only I was speaking to somebody, and this lady was telling me we need to have a community where we can lay our shoulders down without being judged, and have a sort of support system where we can talk and get ourselves out of the rut. Because at times, even I go through that rut. It's not that I don't. But fortunately enough, I have my wife, my mother, and my spirituality that gives me that, holds me back or keeps me grounded. But I know that for a lot of people, we need a support system even.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Because I do suffer from compassion fatigue. It's, I think, most of the caregivers, it's not about caregivers for the dogs only, for the animals. Some compassion fatigue is equally applicable to caregivers of human beings as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I have been through both of them. So it's a very difficult phase.
It is. And I go through it every day because I have both the ends to take care of. Now, moving forward, you also hold a postgraduate diploma in animal protection and law. How does legal awareness strengthen your role as both caregiver and nutrition consultant?
Okay, so as a caregiver, it gave me really, the voice, the confidence in me, which I probably lacked earlier. I got more clarity towards, the welfare of street animals. I can guide others better now. Many people approach me, many a time through the week, that they are facing such problem in their society, community. What should they do? So then I'm able to guide them much better that way. So it did help me, and it also I also understood what is ethical sterilization and how to ensure proper sterilization drive. Many a times I see that people are sterilizing haphazardly, and they don't understand that it is very important to be very understand the area how you are sterilizing. If you are sterilizing one A, suppose the location A, then you are skipping off B and going to C, that does not make a difference. Because if the dogs again encroach from location B to A, then your whole sterilization drive is a failure. So that's very important to understand, how it works and how to go about it. So that's how being a caregiver has helped me. As a nutrition consultant for the dogs, it has helped me to understand, the how pet industry, pet food industry works, how this labeling works, and the pet parents, they don't just trust the science, they understand the integrity which I have earned, and I mean the number of dogs I have dealt with over the years. So they understand that that what I'm recommending and telling them to do is comes with a lot of background and lot of research and on hand work which I have done with the dogs. So that's how this diploma had helped me.
Wonderful. That's such an interesting one for people. I'm sure people who are handling caregiving, they should, from what I believe, it's we need to know that there are laws that protect us, come what may. May not be
Yeah.
that implemented strongly, but at least we
Yeah,
know
but
that.
because many a times some people even approach me after knowing that I have a post graduation diploma in animal protection and law from Nalsar. They ask me that what if I do this course, and will it also enable me to be a better caregiver? I told that person it does not matter unless and until you have a strong voice, unless and until you are confident enough. No degree, no diploma, no feeding card will ever help you unless you have that confidence to speak out, to tell people that yes, you are doing wrong and where you are going wrong, even if that is a cop. There, no degree will help you.
That's very true. It's basically your own belief system that what you're doing right, you need to stand up for it at the end of the
Yeah.
day. I think because I normally don't, not that I'm trying to point out, but I fight almost every day, with a lot of people.
Yeah,
And
I used to do that, couple of years ago. But what happened is, people see me taking care of the dogs. So I don't particularly go out feeding all these 60 dogs. There's a dedicated feeder, who hired person who comes and feeds his dogs. But they know that this person is there. If something happens to the dog, that person will get back to him. So they understood this part, and they also saw that diseases of those dogs, any kind of diseases, are restricted. Uh, there are no, the population is not growing. People are hostile towards dogs and cats because their numbers increase. Okay, because we live in a urban society, urban city, and the space which we are in, it is basically their space which we have encroached, and we are going on encroaching because of our increasing population, right? So they don't understand that. But yeah, when they see that the population is under control, they are slowly understanding, okay, fine, these dogs won't harm me. On my lane, I had 8 dogs at one point of time. Right now I have 3 dogs only. So and people were very hostile earlier, even 3 or 4 years back. They were very angry towards those dogs. But now they call those dogs, they give them biscuits, sometimes they are giving them leftovers like that. So they have stopped being hostile towards those dogs.
well, God bless them, I tell you, because for me, it's been last 2 years. Uh, the kind of hostility these little furry babies are facing, even though I've got them sterilized and everything has been in place, but just because they have a strong ego that they couldn't, relocate these furry babies when they were just about, 10, 15 days old, because they wanted to just put them in a gunny bag and throw them away. But just because I was taking care of them and there was another gentleman who stood with me, so we had to, face a lot of hostilities and the kind of problems we faced. But just because today they've grown, they've been almost like about a year old now. There's 2 kids. The third kid I had to bring home because they had driven a car over her. And there's been a lot of things they've done to these little puppies, almost, I think all the 3 kids, once they have all been driven over. And fortunately enough, by the grace of God, none of them have lost their limbs or anything. They're still healthy, touch wood. Immediately rush them to the doctors, get them bandaged. I've been doing that, sometimes even at late night. But because these people have not been able to accomplish what they wanted, to throw them away. And now, because I file up all police complaints every day, or almost every day, I run down to a police station to file, a complaint against somebody or the other. And you won't believe it, just because of that, they've also threatened my 85-year-old mother a couple of times, because my mother lives there. But all I'm trying to say, it's sometimes, overwhelming for me, even because almost every second, third day, I have people coming to beat me. I have to run down to the police station. And then because I also think in a different, the other side of the perspective, the days I'm not there, I don't want the kids to be hurt, because I see every day, they are so hostile towards these kids. And they don't understand, by being hostile to them, they're making the kids aggressive. Otherwise, if you look at
Exactly.
it, there are so many people that these kids are, these furry babies are so happy with. But because you see them carrying, you see the watchman carrying the stick, you see a lot of other members carrying sticks, you're just making them aggressive, and then it would lead to a bite eventually. But
Yeah, right.
but they just don't want to understand it. So, anyways, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, hoping someday people will change.
Yeah, probably a few more years.
Maybe I just hope for that, honestly. Now, Piggly, despite his permanent injury, thrives under your care. What does its story teach us about nourishment beyond the body into the spirit and joy?
So just for the listeners, Piggly was rescued. When he was about, I think, 4 or 5 months old. He used to live near my area where I have my feeding zone. One day suddenly I see that his hind leg is dangling. So probably a car or a bike has hit it and run over, and it's dangling. So I went to the doctor. I got it bandaged and everything like that. But unfortunately, the foster where I had kept him, that foster turned out to be bad, and within a week's time, the paw, which was all fine, it had developed necrosis. So I couldn't save the paw, and it took me a month almost to just clean that wound and get it stabilized. Every day I used to get it cleaned twice a day, and every day a piece of bone, flesh, used to go away just like that, while cleaning. So it was very painful for him. And then after it developed into a stump, and he hops on 3 legs, all fine. But apart from food and supplements, I think the care which he received at my home, the love and care and attention, I think that is that had more to do than food. This I have always realized. Whichever dog I had brought home or rescue, that the dog was in such a condition that the recovery was taking a long time, even after giving antibiotics and medicines and food. But the moment the dog was in a good environment, the dog recovered faster. So that is what has happened with Piggly as well.
This reminds me exactly the same thing. Not exactly same, but somewhat what we have. Our third rescue, Cookie, from my mother's compound. She was driven over, and for almost 8 days she was still at my mother's compound under the treatment. I was taking her to the doctor and everything, and at the same time, me and my wife, we were debating, whether to get a home and what. And my wife was very clear about it. She's like, get home, enough. But it was me, I'll be very honest, it was me, because we already had two. And the other one of them is also another rescue. And we were debating about it, and you won't believe it. For 8 days, she was in pain, and especially during December, the month of December, November and December. But when we got her home, for the first 2 days, she was just sleeping on the, on the gadda and everything on the bed. She didn't do. And within a week, I think, yeah, it was just about a week, she stopped limping and she was so happy because she knew. I think, yeah, she's safe. And, the food and everything was given, the medications were given. And you won't believe it, within a week, she was like, today she rules the house, to be honest. So that's what it is. I think it also has to do a lot with, the affection and the love. And if they have a sense of security, I think that helps them heal a lot. From what we have seen at our end.
Yeah, even Piggly, when I gave him to that foster lady, whatever body weight he had, within 7 days it had reduced to 3 kilos.
Wow.
3 kilos had reduced, and then I got him home, and within again a week he was back to his normal body weight. Of course, he was in a lot of pain with the leg and all, but then he never, even when I used to clean that wound daily, dress it, he never used to complain, he never used to flinch. He almost used to fall asleep on my lap while the paravet used to clean the wound. But yeah, he never, he never struggled, he never resisted that phase also. So it does matter a lot.
Very true. Yeah, it's just a sense of security that they feel with, people, with their caregiver. That is something so beautiful. If we all humans can understand it.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't.
Now, Nino's recovery from acute renal failure is extraordinary. Can you share how you adapted her diet step by step and what that journey taught you about patience and resilience?
Okay, so Nino has chronic kidney disease, and she was, I think, 4 or 5 years old. I think 4 years old when she developed that. She was a dog on my lane itself, and one day, she used to go and sit in. There was a butcher shop near our area, and she used to go and sit there throughout the day. And I was at that point of time going for a very bad phase with my father's health. I was, taking him to the hospital back home, and I had no time to look at Nino that point of time when she was on the street. One day, she suddenly, collapsed and she vomited very badly. And then all those tests and everything started. Her creatinine was 9.2 at one point of time.
Wow.
And with medicines, IV medication, oral medication, it started declining. It came to, I think, 6 point something. And then her condition was declining very rapidly. And then, God forbid, thankfully, she underwent dialysis successfully. Usually, the dialysis machine, there is only one dialysis machine, and one dialysis machine that point of time in Kolkata. That was at the government veterinary hospital, and it had that machine was only for dogs who are above 20 kilos. And Nino was 14 kilos that point of time. And so, the doctor told me that she won't be able to handle. You should be ready. She might collapse the next day or the night itself. Anyways, I got her dialysis done, and she's a very brave dog. She did not flinch. She did not do anything. Dialysis of dogs is done with full consciousness, and the dialysis tube goes through the jugular vein in the neck. And she is very brave that way. She did not flinch. She did not, cry even once. We got that done. We came home, and I kept praying, and from next day she looked better. She wanted to eat food. So that's the main, that's the first sign that your dog is doing better, if the dog wants to have some. So at that point of time, she was on the renal diet prescribed by doctor. But then, I did. I, I I mean, that continued for a bit. Then she did not. She was supposed to go for a second round of dialysis, but did not happen because the veins had got compromised and something of that sort. And the doctor told me, now it's on her fate. If the creatinine comes down naturally, then it's okay. If not, then we can't help it. But thankfully, again, touch wood, it did come down naturally a lot. And then her diet has been, she's on a very strict diet, low protein and high carb diet. Yeah, carb is not good for dogs mostly, but then her condition requires that. uh, by low protein, now many people think that by kidney disease, that the protein content, the meat, should be totally eliminated from the dog's diet. But then that is very wrong concept. That is a myth, because if you take the protein totally away from that diet, the dog is going to develop other health issues. The dog's bones are going to degenerate. With when they start getting old, it will have an effect on their limbs. So her diet is very, she's on a very well maintained strict diet. Even if my other dogs have two main meals, one small meal, or something of that sort, she is only on a two-meal diet plan in a day. And another problem with her is she's very low on water intake. She dislikes drinking water. So I have to, dilute her water with some chicken broth and do something of that sort to make her drink water. At one point of time, the vet had told me, get her to drink 1 liter of water every day, which is totally impossible for even a normal dog. But yeah, it did help. I mean, she is a very what should I say? She's a very miracle dog, that she has survived all these things and she's still here. Touch wood. Even last year, her creatinine was again increasing little, and I was in a very panic mode. But then again, the medicine started and everything. Then again, it has come down. It is within the range.
Honestly, this is a very inspiring story for a lot of people who are facing things like this. When it comes to your fur baby, don't give up.
I think I struggled with her for 2 months, literally sleepless nights. She's sleeping right here, when I'm talking with you. And this is the same spot when I had got her home from the dialysis center. And it was winter, I remember. It was probably December or January. And I had my phone's alarm was kept on every 1 hour mode. Okay, so even if I fell asleep, I used to wake up, and of course the night lamp was always on. I used to wake up to check if she is okay or not. That's how I have spent the days and nights. And even she when she was refusing the food, I used to feed her 5 to 6 times a day. Feed her, literally hand feed her, so that something goes inside and she's able to retain it, not vomit it out. And so that all the medicines, because she was on a lot of oral medicines also, that keeps she's able to keep that down. And she was on IV medication also. I had got the cannula fitted on her leg, and she used to keep that for 5 days on one leg. And of course it used to go away. I mean, the veins used to get compromised, and again call the person and get it done on another leg, so that I don't have to depend on the paravet the whole day. I used to give, my room was literally a hospital kind of thing. Different kind of saline bottles were hanging, and I used to give her IV and everything by myself. So it was a very difficult phase. But she's a very brave dog. I have lost another dog on my lane to chronic kidney disease. He was not so strong. Of course, his creatinine was very high, but then he was not a very strong, mentally very strong dog. to undergo all that treatment. But this one, she is a very strong dog.
And I would also add to it, God bless you for being so, for not giving up on her. That's more important.
Thank you.
Now, many pet parents feel overwhelmed by online advice on dog food. How do you simplify this maze for them without diluting scientific accuracy?
So yeah, it can be very overwhelming with lot of information floating online. Someday somebody saying that this kibble is 100% suitable for your dog. This is complete balanced. Then again, there's the concept of raw meat, raw feeding is best for your dog. So I don't overwhelm them with a lot of information at first go. The parents, I ask for their preference, their understanding, how will they be able to prep and cook for the dog, what they are capable of. And then I simplify the science rather than using this, the difficult jargons like macronutrients and bioavailability and all. So, break it down to simple terms which they are able to understand and make them understand that how this food and how these nutrients are absorbed by the dog's body, why they need it. And then I provide them with small actionable steps, not overhaul everything at one go. If the dog is on kibble diet, then the dog has to go through a transition diet, so I handhold them with that. And finally I provide context. By context I mean why it matters, why it empowers your dog, how it is going to help your dog. So I also receive clients who are vegetarians and they have fed vegetarian food to their dog, and the dog has developed a lot of skin troubles because of that. Then I have to explain to them that why vegetarian is not working for your dog. Maybe it might work for some other dog, but your dog is clearly exhibiting all those problems. And why it is exhibiting those problems? Because that dog is that dog's body needs those amino acids, the proteins, the enzymes which is present in meat. Okay, so thankfully I have got a lot of clients who they are vegetarian, but they have not thrust that belief on their dogs. They they source the food, the meat, they get the meat cooked by somebody else and get it home, and that's how they have helped those dogs thrive.
It's not help. I think it's basically aligning yourself with the needs of your fur baby. That's what I say, because that's what we have also done. But at least we do cook in the house for them. We may not cook for ourselves, but for our furry babies, all the 3 babies, we cook in the house. Me and my wife, we make sure that it's cooked in the house for them. Now, taking it forward, what role do schools, workshops, or community events play in building awareness about nutrition as a foundation of welfare?
So suppose like in schools, if the children learn how about nutrition, how it helps the dogs, and the child will probably become more have more empathy and responsibility towards the dogs. Small lessons in how to be, how about animal welfare, that is very important in current scenario. Like I hardly think, I think that hardly any school gives importance to that, to this factor. But a childhood is the first step where a child is learning a lot of things about his environment, his society. So he should be in those responsibility should be instilled in the child at that point of time, which is lacking, unfortunately. Workshops are very important for parents and caregivers to work together and understand each other, understanding ingredients, portion size, what the health requirements of the dog is. And many parents, they unnecessarily panic for well-being of the child after seeing a dog, whether it's a street dog or a pet dog in a society. That's not needed. If you understand a dog's need, There's no need. I mean, I have seen in my lane only, the dog is not bothering the person, the passerby. The passerby is, behaving like, oh, the dog is going to jump on. The dog doesn't care who is passing by. And why this unnecessarily, frantic mode, going into that frantic mode, I don't know. Even I have delivery boys telling me, madam, please tell your dogs to go there, and then I'll come upstairs and all. The dogs do not care. Even if somebody is coming upstairs, they're just sitting on their own, in their own spot. They don't care. Why are you scared? What is going to happen? I don't understand.
You know,
In
sorry, to this, I'm going to add something. What you rightly said. We need to instill in the kids right at their, young ages about a very important term you mentioned, empathy, which we are all losing right now. Because uh, I'll give you a small example. This is what I have seen since I've been, taking care of these furry babies. When these three kids were there, out of which now two are there at my mother's compound, you won't believe it. I've seen kids when they are returning from their school. These poor souls are sleeping. They would just come and kick it.
exactly.
They would just come and kick the baby. I mean, it's sleeping out there. It's not doing anything. Why do you have to come and kick it? I mean, imagine if that was to happen to a human baby who was sleeping, and we would just go and kick it and wake him up, wake that kid up from the sleep, or not only a human baby, but even if it's an adult human, we would absolutely get upset and angry.
Right.
And then people talk about aggression.
Exactly. I
It
have
is.
the same example. I have a dog in my lane, Nino's sister, Juno. When she was about a year or 2 years old, this kid used to pass by and used to throw stones at her. So she suddenly started getting aggressive towards kids. She will not bite, she will chase them. I mean, that's not her fault. Nobody realized that. It was, I mean, she started chasing, and people started telling me that, this, your dog is aggressive, do something about that. But then I told them that this is the reason that this dog is behaving like that. Okay. You first tell your kid not to abuse the dog, not to harass the dog. Just let the dog be. Then, of course, it will not do anything.
On this, I'm going to say very important, which was with two of the conversations I've had. One is a psychotherapist for dogs from US, and there was another person I was having as a guest, and we were having this discussion where this person said very clearly, it's a very important point for a lot of people to listen. What happens is we humans take sticks and chase these kids, want to beat them, attack them. So what happens is we humans forget, or we don't realize that kids, this furry babies, see stick as a weapon. So, when at times they talk about that, this indie attacked an old man walking with a stick on the street without any reason, they forget that it was not for any reason. It is because it sees stick as a weapon, and that's his defense mechanism. So, I mean, people don't understand that these are all inbuilt and ingrained into them as what we, how we behave. It's a mirror reflection. If we behave badly with them, they are going to somehow, I mean, they're going to have have a defense mechanism for themselves.
Right.
Even for humans today, if somebody used to, I mean, let's be very honest, we are the worst species on this planet. Sorry to say that. I mean,
No, you're right.
Even if somebody would tell us, even abuse us, we would just go, tongs and bangs, hammers
Exactly.
to take it up. So imagine, it's the same thing what these furry babies are reflecting on,
Right.
back. Now, with over 50 preservative-free products in Doggit Nutri zone, what's your guiding principle when innovating new treats or meals?
So the main thing which I always remember is Uh, I will not make something which I'm not going to feed my own dogs. So first, my own dogs need to be, happy with the food I'm making. They need to approve. Then, of course, it goes out to others. And apart from that, there's no shortcut, no fillers, no preservatives, which makes the shelf life little lesser than whatever the products are available in the market. But still, I would prefer that way. And then there is functionality is very important for treats or meals. How it is helping that dog, whether it is helping the dogs with some joint problems or digestive issues. Good for the digestive system, good for immunity. So I always try and curate such treats or meals for the dogs. And of course, bioavailability first, so that the nutrients are absorbed by the dog's body in its real form, not in any other chemicals or hazardous elements which will be risky for them. And of course, practical for the parents, so that they can store and serve according and trust the brand easily. I have pet owners, pet parents who taste these treats themselves and have come and have really liked it. So I honestly, personally, I have never tried it myself, but they have come back with me with the feedback that it tastes really good. Which I mean, I don't know how, but probably I have a very high sweet tooth, so I won't be able to understand. But they have come back with those feedbacks, which is really good to hear.
Absolutely. It's so wonderful to hear that, We very rarely find such humans, who can taste the food even themselves before they get...
So because I make products which are basically, made with ingredients which are used for humans as well. Even the cakes I bake, many parents have asked me that can we have it also? It looks really delicious. I tell them, yeah, of course you can have. If you have that palatability, which I don't have, then of course you can go ahead and have it. There's no harm in it. It's not going to harm you.
Perfect. Now, if you could design the ideal ecosystem for pet nutrition and community caregiving in India, what would it look like from policy to practice?
So that is a very difficult scenario, because it'll need a lot of different policy making, and certain of those laws which are already in place but they are never implemented, or they are not strictly implemented. Especially ABC rules, animal birth control rules are there, but it's not implemented. And the most important difficult part is the funding. Okay, so funding, who will, people or the bodies who can fund the project, who can help building it. I'm not sure how much they are going to do it for the dogs. They don't do it for humans. How much they are going to do it for the dogs. And then capacity building, that is again very important. Making the vets, the paravets understand and train them that how to go about it, how to handle both these things together. That is a very difficult task. But yeah, if all those things are aligned, then probably it would have been an ideal ecosystem. But to me, it is an utopia, which I cannot expect. At least in India, it is not possible.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. We never know. We never know. There is a lot that's happening, and I think as humans, the most important thing that we live is on hope. That we hope for the betterment of everything, not only for the human race, but I think even for the non-human race. We just hope that someday, the lawmakers, the policy, all the stakeholders will have a different, have a different perspective, or maybe the perspectives do change. Let's just keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Now, coming to the last question of the show would be, finally, what's your hope for the next generation of pet parents in India? If they could take away just one truth about dogs from you, what should it be?
So, pet parents need to understand that these dogs are entrusting their lives on you, on us. Okay. So, the one truth which, they should carry ahead is like the dog's well-being depends on them, on us. How they what we feed, how we care, how we respect their needs. Okay, that is very very important. It's not about expensive products or trends or following the fad. Following all those different kinds of reels or making very fancy looking food. It the dog does not need that. The dog does not understand that, but we understand their basic requirement, that the balanced, the right food uh, meal they need, the according to their health requirement. So as long as a pet owner or pet parent understands that, then they don't need much. Just that food and love, that's all they need.
Two important aspects, I would say that. Now, Rini, coming to the end part where I normally leave it as an open mic for the guest. If they want, the floor is like yours. If you want to talk about your favorite project, or if you want people to support any of the NGOs that you're supporting, or if there's anything that you want to say, that's the floor is yours. It's an open space. And what I do is, as I said, when we release the podcast, most of the podcasts we do, if some people want to, the NGOs want to make a request for a fundraise and everything, what we do is we put in all the direct links at the end of the show when we release it, so that if they want to, connect with you, or they want to support you in your journey, that's directly between you and them. And this is my way of giving back to the community.
That's great. That's really amazing. Uh, See, I don't have an NGO of my own. I work as an individual. I take care, like I mentioned, like you mentioned, I take care of 60 plus community dogs with their feeding and whenever their treatments are required. Apart from that, I try to get as many dogs, street dogs, sterilized, around my area, around the radius which have already been sterilized, going beyond that radius. I try and do that. Recently, I'll be after. I mean, right now it's a Durga Puja season, festive season. So once that's over, I would like to get some cats sterilized. There are a couple of cat feeders near my area. I mean, those boys are students, so they don't have that much financial stability to get the sterilization done. So I want to get their cats sterilized. It's not that they are not pets; they are again community cats. So that is again on my agenda. And I would also like to mention part of the earnings which I do from Doggit Nutrition also goes towards the animal welfare work. So anybody is welcome to order whatever they want from the website, and of course they'll be helping the street dogs and cats in return.
Rini, thank you so much. This was such a beautiful conversation we had. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for.
Let me pause.